Okay, so we're ready right now to start working on creating our first drawing. And our first drawing is going to be this lag table. This is a lag table sketch. This is an IKEA lag table. And we have some dimensions here for this table. And we want to start drawing the top view. So that's the top view. This is basically how the table looks like from a 3D view. And then what we will be drawing is the top view of the table and the front view, which is going to be almost like the front elevation, and the side elevation for the table. We have some measurements here. So the table is basically kind of a cube in a way, okay? So, and I just want you to start looking at things from the perspective of 3D. So imagining basically how a shape looks like from all dimension is going to be very easy, because if I think of a shape from 3D perspective, then I will be able to transform it into 2D easily. But if I started to think in 2D and then try to push this to how this look in 3D, this is not actually the accurate way. So instead, we try to think of shapes in a 3D form. And then we try to look at the views. So how the cube looks like from a top view, from a side view, and from a front view. And this is very important for interior designers to start to think according to this concept, which is how shapes look in 3D, because it's going to be easier for them to transform this into a two-dimensional drawing. All right. So in our case here, we have something similar to what assignment 1 is asking you to do, except this is a smaller scale. And I thought it's going to be important to introduce this as with basic drawings, because right now we have all the basic commands. We learned all the basic commands from the other videos, from video 1 and 2, and try to put this into a drawing in CAD. So the drawings that we need is, we're going to put this, we need to put the 55 centimeter, because it's a cube. This means that the top view is actually a square. Okay, so I have 55 centimeter in this way. In this side is the X, this is the X and Y. And also if we need to think of X and Y in 3D, you notice that this is the X and this is the Y and this is the Z command. When if we get into the 3D part of AutoCAD, this is actually the X and Y, okay, on your display in the model space. You're going to see that this is going to transform into X and Y and Z in 3D space. Okay, so right now we only want to transform this from 3D into 2D. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to draw the top view, or what we call the plan view. Okay, so we have this on the X, we have this on the Y, and we need to put this into CAD. Okay, so I know that this is 55 centimeters and 55 centimeters also in the Y direction, because it's a square. So let's go to CAD, all right, and start drawing this. Now, if we have this, on your screen because you have been practicing, then how to erase all of this if you want to. We can erase all of this using a very simple tool. Now, if the cursor is not selecting any tool, okay, this means that I can actually click and drag and create a lasso around all of those shapes, and once I just release, okay, my my finger from the left mouse button, this means that this is all of those are going to be selected. Once they are selected, I'm going to click delete on my keyboard and everything is going to be deleted. All right. Another thing we can do is that Control Z, all of them are here. I'm going to click on, I'm going to type here erase, enter. I'm going to select object. So I'm just going to click again and select everything as we did and enter, and everything is going to be erased. Erase also lives under the modify a tool here. Okay, so, but the easiest way, as you can see, is that by selecting everything, once you're not selecting, just want to make sure that you're not selecting any other tool. And then when you do that lasso thing and click, everything is going to be vanished. All right, so here we're going to go back here to how this, we need that square, okay, to be created, which is 55 centimeters. Since we have here our template is in metric system, which is in millimeters, we need to convert this into millimeters. So we know that, just to make sure that this is here, I know that the conversion between centimeter, 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. This means that the 55 centimeter we have here are going to be 550 millimeters. Okay, so I'm just going to go back here and I'm going to start. Now I have two tools to do this. I have for drawing the top view of the table. I can create a line, okay, or I can create this using the rectangle command. For ease, we're going to use the rectangle command because most of the table legs are going to be created through the line. So we're going to be using those interchangeably. I'm going to click on the rectangle command. And once I click on the rectangle command, I'm just going to click and drag. Now I know that I have two values here, and I know that I can select dimensions, or we're going to learn a new things today is that I can actually switch between the X and Y values to type in the numerical values. And to do that, I know that I have on the Y 550 millimeters. And before I click enter, I'm going to click tab, okay, on my keyboard. When I click on tab on my keyboard, it's going to switch to the Y direction. Okay, so before clicking enter, I'm going to do this again, but I'm going to type now 550, okay, on my keyboard, and I'm going to click on enter. Now it's teeny tiny because the drawing size, when we were drawing according to meters. Now we're drawing according to centimeters. So previously, the previous drawing was set into, you know, we were drawing larger objects or maybe rooms. But right now, this is the right size, which is just zoom in with the middle mouse wheel. Okay, so this is how it should look like. Again, I'm going to do this again so you can, you know, experiment with dimensions when we use dimensions and when we use the numerical value input. So I'm going to click here, okay, and then I'm going to click and drag. All right, we said that we can use dimensions before, and we can also do that trick, okay, when we put in numerical value. The first numerical value, as we said, it's always the X direction. So I'm going to type 550. And before clicking enter, I'm not going to click enter. I'm going to click tab so I can put in a numerical value for the Y axis. So I'm going to click on tab here. And this actually shifted me to the Y direction, as you can see. And I'm going to type 550 as well. And then I'm going to click enter. All right. So that's the first, that's the top view that we want. I'm just going to click here and remove this because we already have a copy here. All right. And this is the top view. Now, if you click here, you can see that this is actually the top view from the screen here. And we're going to talk about this, but I just want you to make sure that you understand that this is your top view here. Okay, and it corresponds to the top view on the right side of your screen. Now, what if I want to show the front view of this table? Now, the front view looks something like this. So managed to do the top view successfully. Now the front view or the front elevation, so if I'm looking this way, this is how the table is going to look like, is actually the same cube shape in a way. You can see that it's the same cube shape, but it does have thickness. There is volume that was removed from the table. That is that volume that was removed, which is another. I mean, if you think of it this way, there is a smaller cube that was removed from the big cube, okay, to make the legs. All right, and there is a smaller cube as well that was removed from here to create the legs as well. So this means that basically I need the thickness that I have here is 5 centimeter, which is about 50 millimeters. And so basically I need to create a rectangle here, and I need to create a rectangle here and another one here. I have the full height as 45 centimeters. So how to do that? First thing is, if I want to create the elevation, one of the things that we will need to do, I'm just going to zoom out, is to extend, okay, lines here as we did. And this is probably something that you learned in drafting, is that we're going to extend lines here to mark exactly where the table end and start and end are going to be. And this is what we will be doing here as well. But before that, I need to have a line, a floor line. And this is the floor line that we have here, because we have a floor line here. So I need to create this first, and I need to make sure that I have enough space, okay, for the table height to extend without overlapping with the top view of the table. So I'm just going to go here, and I'm going to go with line. The first thing I need to do is to go down enough here and click and drag to create a line. The line can extend as much as possible. You're clicking and dragging and then clicking again. And then I'm going to click escape on my keyboard to get off. And this is going to be my floor line. Now I'm going to create a 2 lines for the start and end of that square or the top view. And to do that, I'm going to make sure that the object snap tracking is on. And also from the object snap, I'm going to right click and I want to make sure that the endpoint is turned on. And I want to make sure that the extension is turned on and perpendicular on. All of those snapping points, the endpoint, the extension, and the perpendicular are going to help me tremendously in creating a successful front view for this table. And I'm going to click on the endpoint here. Okay, again, I'm sorry. By the way, if you just accidentally get out of the line command, right click with the mouse button and click on repeat line. Okay, so just what happened is if you want to reactivate the last line that you have been creating or the last command that you have been working with, just right click. Okay, and then when you right click, you're going to see the last line that you used active with you. So I'm going to click on repeat line, and then I'm going to hover over this point here, okay? And then I'm going to extend. Now, when I hover over, there is actually a line, okay, that is going to be an imaginary line. Now, I'm not clicking, because if I clicked, I will create a line. I just hovered over, and this is why I clicked on the object snap tracking, because it's going to allow you to snap without actually creating an actual line. And this has to be working in conjunction with the object snap and the extension snap. So those two has to be working together while ortho is working as well or active as well. So if I hover here, okay, over this point, okay, I'm not clicking, I'm just hovering. And whenever you hover over back, it's going to, that plus sign is going to be deactivated. And when you hover again, it's going to be activated. And then I'm just hovering till I get to that line. Okay. Now, as you can see, because I didn't create a line, the perpendicular tool is not working with me. So what should I do? I'm just going to go back here again. Okay, I'm still in the command. I didn't get out of the command. And then I'm going to right click with the mouse. And now I'm going to select intersection. Now, intersection is going to help me to find the intersection, because perpendicular couldn't find. I didn't create a line with that is going to be perpendicular in anything. I'm still extending that extension. So I'm going to click on the intersection line here. And then I'm going to click back, go back, right click on the mouse again. All right. And I'm going to go to right click and repeat line. and I'm going to hover over this point, and then I'm going to go down again. Now you can see that we have an intersection. I'm going to hover over here, and then I'm going to go down, and at that intersection, I'm going to click. Now, once I click, okay, now I can create a line. And I'm going to do this again. Here we have object snap tracking. We have object snap turned on. I'm going to right click on object snap, and I have endpoint turned on. For now, I'm just going to remove center, and I have intersection, and I have extension. I'm just going to turn off perpendicular now, so you can basically have all of those three simple OSNAP turned on, and then I'm going to click, making sure that object snap tracking is on and ortho is on. Okay, now right click again and click on repeat line. When you right click, this means that you're expanding that menu, and the last command is going to be active, which is line. Click on repeat line, and then hover over this point, hovering over, and then go down. Okay, and then once you have that intersection, which is an X intersecting with the line that you created for the floor, click and drag up. When you click and drag up, this means that now I can create a line with the height that I want. And if you remember the height of the table was actually 445 centimeter, which is 450 millimeter. So right now, the value that I need to put is 450. Enter. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the side. I have two options right now. I already know that the end of the table is going to be at 550 millimeter because that's the width of the table. Okay, all right. So I can go like this, and I can type in 550, enter, and then I can go down, and notice that because we have endpoint on, there is problems in snapping. All right, so if this happens, I can do two things. I can actually click here and make sure that endpoint is not selected. All right, and I can click on perpendicular. So when I go back here, okay, I can click and drag down, and when I click and drag down, okay, I can click here perpendicularly on this line. The line is still working with me, which is fine. We're going to see what we will be doing with it, but that's basically the way that we create the elevation or the front view. I'm going to click escape on my keyboard to get out of line command now. So right now we have that as our top view, and this is the front view. What we are drawing is the front view, which is that view that we have here. Okay, next thing is we have a thickness that we need to account for, which is 5 centimeter thickness. So I need to take that measurement from the endpoint, from the first point here to that point here. To do that, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. And again, I'm going to click on the line command, and then I'm going to hover over this point. I'm hovering, and then I'm going to go down. Now, notice when I go down, there is from the intersection. I'm going to click. I'm not clicking. I'm sorry. I'm going to hover over that corner point, and then I'm going to go down. When I go down, there's actually a value, a numerical value that is actually changing. So I can type in the value that I want, and again, make sure that you are hovering on that corner point and then going down. Hover and go down, and once you see that dashed line, this means that I can actually pick any point that I want to start drawing the line from. And I want to make sure that this point in height is at 50. So I'm just going to type 50, enter. And now you can see that we are drawing the line, okay, from that 50 after I took 50 millimeters from the corner point that we drew. And then I'm going to click and I'm going to drag. Now, a perpendicular is on. This is going to help me to define that this line is going to end here perpendicularly on that other opposite end of the table. So I'm just going to click. All right. I'm going to click escape on my keyboard. All right. And this is the first part of the table. This is the that part. Now, I need, this is the thickness of the top of the table. Now I need to create the thickness for the legs. So I'm just going to click here, right? I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to click on the line command. And after clicking the line command, we could have also used the way that I told you before, which is right clicking and repeat line. And I'm going to hover over here, okay, this point here. And then I'm going to move. I'm hovering over and then I'm moving. So hover. Once you see that intersection sign, and then you hover and then you move to the side. And then I'm going to type 50 again, because that's the same value that we have as a thickness for the leg. And then click enter on your keyboard and then go down. When perpendicular is on, this is going to make things easier for me. So I'm going to click here. Right, click escape on the keyboard and then right click, repeat line, hover over this point here, move to the side, type 50 on your keyboard, enter, and then go down. Click to mark the last corner point of the leg and then press escape. So that's the first part that we are creating for, if you zoom out, this is basically how the table is going to look like from the front view.